Okay, there we go. Looks like we're all set. Let's get the. Let me get a couple things set up, and then we will get into this stock market recap. Not looking to take any trades, maybe a couple trims here and there, maybe if I see something worthy of it. But just looking to recap here, just kind of sitting down in my seat. I can see the Nasdaq is down a little over 1.5%. You know, I briefly looked at my phone, and I had a couple text messages asking what's going on with the market. And all I simply just said is we're talking about a single day of trading. You know, just because the market is down 1.5% doesn't mean that there's really anything to worry about. Yes, the market can go down after it's had this exhaustive move to the upside. Is this the top? I mean, I don't know. You guys know that I preach that in the short term, the stock market is a voting machine. In the long run, it's a weighing machine. I believe whether you're talking about indexes, whether you're talking about any equity name, crypto, you name it. In the long run, they're going to trade near its intrinsic value. I'm a firm believer of that. So to pinpoint anything in particular to say, oh, the market is down because of this, I believe those are some of the problems that we have in today's society. And just me coming out here and saying that short-term trading is just a big voting machine. I have a vote. Person next to me has a vote. Person next to him has a vote as well. Some people have bigger votes than others. I only have a single vote, guys. Uh, I don't know exactly where the market's going to go. Whether it blasts higher, whether it blasts lower, I really don't know. But in the long term, I'm a firm believer that everything will trade near its intrinsic value. I'm a firm believer of that. So you guys know I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Just simply sharing my opinion, and we are going to do some stock market analysis. So looking at the Nasdaq, that's what we have pulled up right here, down 1%. You can see maybe leaving some sort of double top, a little look right in here. But another thing that I do see is we have solid strength, you know, holding some levels. We have not had enough strength to get up to this gap that you guys know I've talked about many times. You guys are probably getting tired of hearing it. But then you run this retracement tool, meets up right around that 702 as well, into a previous top right in here. You know, you have a top and another retracement dealing in right there. I'm still acting under the impression that we are going to get some further movement to the upside. So just because we're down 1.5% doesn't mean that, you know, that it can't come into fruition still. I think that we're still going to see that. I'd be shocked if this was the top. Does that mean that I'm right? No, it doesn't. For all I know, this is the top and we go lower. For all I know, we even go higher than some of these levels I have marked. Guys, it's just a single trading day. So that's my 10 cents on the matter there. So going into what do we want to talk about? We can find some strength on the day. We can take a look at oil. You guys know I've talked about oil many times on the live stream. Before, you know, we just had some simple little trend line set like this. Did we adjust this trend line? Yes. Yeah, yes, we did. But I'm pretty firm on this 75 level and these low 60s. So we'll just mark it in right there. As long as we're trading in the middle right here, I've done everything that I want to do with oil. XLE is an oil fund. I've talked about it a few times. No, we didn't add any to it. No, we didn't add. No, we didn't cut to any oil positions. I'm waiting for it to pick a side, and we're going to be a buyer on either side of this. Now, just because it gets over 75 doesn't mean that oil, oh, got to punch in the oil. No, we're just respecting what it wants to do in the short term. I believe that that could be an early catalyst for a potential 84 break. Where if we get an 84 break, are we going to trade towards this upper end where we could potentially see oil in the 90s? I don't know. But yeah, looking at oil on a 15-minute chart, I can see that we gave up strength for the day. Can we still hold some of these levels? Yeah, we very well could. Is there some sort of uptrend build right here? Sort of like this, where we're trading in some sort of channel? Possible. Very possible. Early signs of a channel right there, and you know this trend line could be ran all the way through over here as well. Is there a further channel to that? Possible. So we have a couple early looks to a channel, which could be a potential catalyst for a 75 break. It's tough to say. For all I know, this continues to build some sort of flat top at this 75. This uptrend gives up, and we gotta retrace down to a lower trend line. You know, you just don't know. I've gave my catalyst on oil many times, so I'm not just gonna repeat what I've been saying about oil. But looking at some of these low movers, AI, we've talked about AI many times. You know, kind of giving that short look right there, rejecting previous lows. Does this really hold right here? We can go look at the daily on AI. I'm still holding my piece on AI. We stopped out of some shares early in the day. Now, this doesn't mean that it always works out like this. But we had this uptrend identified. We had trims all the ways up. We had trims even at a lower price than what we're at right now. Just respecting the move to the upside. If it wants to keep moving, we were going to continue to respect it. Well, obviously we gave up this uptrend, and you know we had some volatility to the downside. I don't see any reason to cut the entry that I got in down here. We're still around $3 in the money on our entry, so I don't see any reason to make any rash decisions when we just got stopped out of some shares on the break at 37, and we had some outs into this previous low as well, around these 38.25. We were on the live stream when we had some cuts into that. So, yeah, that's the AI trade. Another notable for today, just recapping my day, was we did get a market fill on Ford. Let's go look at it. Just early in the day, you're not really sure how it's going to pan out. We seen it was wicking right here. We got a piece out around 1330. We respected 1340. We get the fill right there. Now, this gap was at 38 or 48. This is where we're on the ask. We weren't sure if we were going to get it, so we lowered that order down to 45s. We got the fill. It ends up filling that gap. If it sets a close above that, I'd take that as a pretty big positive. Going back over to the daily, the next thing that I got marked on my chart is this sort of a green candle gap right up here around 1432. So from current price, I'm still looking for a potential extension up, you know, 5-6%. You know, if this wants to catch some resistance to the downside, I mark my previous low, and we have this gap up from today that does not get filled. So I'm not opposed to even averaging more into this position now that I got a little bit of profits taken out today, if it wants to catch some resistance. So that's my thoughts on the Ford. A couple trims today, still holding a good portion of the position, and I don't see any interest in selling it. We have really good strength, 220 in strength. Does that mean that it is going to go lower or higher? You know, you just never know in the short term. But I like the strength. I like the increased volume right here, putting in a nice green candle on a red day for the NASDAQ. Okay, I like it. Some other notables. Early in the day, we took a trade on CX. Excuse me. CXAI. Sitting at, you know, I adjusted this uptrend. Is this going to have any weight to it or not? Can it hold this uptrend? I don't know. But originally we had it set more so like this, where we had a downtrend, not a downtrend, a descending channel that it was gapping over, and we tried the position around the 1225. We had some outs up into 13. We reloaded. We had some outs up in the 13. We tried getting some at 1250. We didn't. We tried getting some at 1270. We didn't. And we didn't get a cut at 1350. You know what happens? It happens. This ends up going against me, and I stopped out around my original entry around a 1230, and rejected some levels, and now we're sitting at 1160. So I look at that as a positive, as my out where I felt I needed to get out of the position. We're at a lower price as of right now, so I will take it the positive with the negative. So that's what I would see with that. We took a trade on UCAR. So let's go take a look at UCAR. UCAR. I adjusted this channel before. I had it more so a tighter channel like this. Was it going to respect this channel? We ended up getting stopped out of this right around where we're at. We had a 908 stop. We ended up getting stopped out in this candle, and holds this support around 850. Starting to try and turn up. Is there going to be any weight to this? I just don't see a reason to try and get back into this. Sum of strength. Now this is really going to kill me to give a recap on this Carl Icahn fund. Dating back to Monday and even last week before that. We took a trade on this somewhere in here, and a good look of it was just a retest off a 15-minute chart, but you switch over to a 30-minute chart, and we were coming into some levels right here, and we were able to have some good outs on this name. Obviously, looking at the price right now, probably bad outs, but we looked at it at the time as this was an uptrend. We got out of it, and then where did we re-identify or re-enter into the trade? Around this 2250. And looking at it, it never gave up the uptrend, but we did cut the position at the end of the day, right around. Nope, here was no, this was yesterday's. Oh, it was during this red engulfing as it was giving up 23. We put the stop in underneath this wick. We got stopped out, and we said on the live stream that, it's still holding an uptrend. I didn't readdress it the next day, and now look at where we're at. So it really sucks looking at this at the price that it's at, but sometimes you can't always be perfect, and obviously I would love to go back and redo this position, but this was one that I just didn't want to play around with. We had some levels around that 23 and 24 that I needed to work through. We still had an open gap that we needed to work through. Looking at it right there, this wick, we weren't sure if this was the true gap fill or not, or we're going to get some more downward pressure. But now looking at it, it's like, man, I wish I still had a piece of it. So it kind of sucks looking back at something that you get out, and when you get out for a positive trade, and you're feeling really good about yourself, and then a couple days later the price is a lot higher than what it is. So it kind of sucks, but hey, it is what it is. You can't all you can do is learn from it. Is there anything else? I would say we've talked about banks, oil, and China. Those are three things that we've talked about many times on this. Looking at the FXI, we can recap that there's a lot of green volume that came in here. We got paid a dividend, not the greatest dividend, not the highest dividend. We got paid a dividend, a little bit of a sell-off day, still holding some levels, still holding some previous highs, and still on the cusp of positive strength, positive 8. But we do have a gap up that we came up from right here, 2664. I'm looking at this as a long-term play. I'm okay that it's trading in some sort of descending channel like this, whether that's set perfectly or not, something like that. But at the end of the day, I look at this as sort of some sort of value, comparing it to, maybe a NASDAQ name. So take that for what it's worth. I'm okay holding that for the long haul. I think it's in a middle ground right now, so I'm not interested in averaging up, and I'm not interested in. I just want to see a little bit more price action with that. Workiva. I would say Workiva, a lot of green volume that came in here. Doesn't make sense. That needs a little bit of consolidation. We took this trade at a 96 even on the live stream. We said that we had positive strength. It has some sort of bull flag setup, and we're getting continuation. Yesterday we filled the gap. I said there's no need to respect these highs, even though my initial plan was to respect these highs. It just never happened. So, sometimes that's part of it. I would be shocked if we continued to have resistance at this level, where the next levels that I'm looking at is a 105.50, 105.92, and to the upside 116. I think it's possible that this can actually continue to have strength up to that level, whether it happens or not. We've had a couple trims on the name already, and we're feeling pretty good about it. We're not looking to paper hand a winning trade. Get the entry, respect the levels, hold a piece for the dream. That's what I preach. GFAI, we've talked about GFAI, kind of giving up the trend line. We were flirting around this middle ground right here. Probably going to end up being a no trade zone. I just need more information on it. Looking at CJET, we were potentially thinking about something on CJET today. Just didn't have time. We can go over some of the bank names that we've talked about and still holding fairly good strength. Sitting up now 70 cents in the money. We talked about this yesterday at a 49 flat level. Indecision candle. It was tough to make this decision on the fly. We got a 49.07 fill. And, not all the time it's going to work out like this. But I am looking at thinking long term with this name. All the bank names, I'm thinking long term. And I'm not interested in, I just want to get the position built out a little bit, and we're going to go from there. So that's what we were looking at with BNS, a small green day, nothing to really brag about. FVRR, got the positive strength, indecision candle coming in. I think this needs more time to play out. I don't see any need to make any rash decisions. Does it need to pull back in around that 26 level before? If it does, that's fine. We've already had a couple outs on the name, and we're going to go from there. BAC, we've talked about BAC. God, I don't even know how many times. It would be nice to sit here and say we got some 27 fills. No, we only played around with this name around that 28, and even a little bit at this breakout level. This is when we started the BAC. Really talking about the BAC as, okay, is this going to be a bull flag continuation? Well, we got the gap fill. We trade back in, we respect 28 a couple times, and we reclaim 28, and now we're sitting up at 29.55. I think people are going to regret not having entries on some of these bank names. Does that mean that it's going to be straight up from here? No. My thesis on BAC from the beginning is that I want the price to go down. I want the price on all of the names I'm thinking long term to go down. Now, that might seem crazy to some of you guys. Some people can't stomach holding stuff to the downside. But, you guys see it clear as day. I'm looking at this as a potential neckline. 26.72 with a gap fill right underneath 24s. Boom, there's our gap. There's our neckline. This is the window we want. I want to see the price come down to here. Now, some people just have a hard time understanding that, but when I'm thinking long term on a play, I'm not throwing all my eggs in the same basket right away. I'm not just, we're buying it around this 28 level, we're going to unload everything we got into it. No. Size accordingly always. That's what I'm trying to teach here when building out some sort of long-term position. But just on this little 1% gainers right here, I see a lot of these names that I'm talking about here. Intel. We said Intel had a descending channel. We talked about it on the day that it gaps up. We were buying. Somehow we don't get a 29 flat fill that we were on the bid for. Don't ask me how. But then we break this channel, and then we are buying it at this 30 flat. We hold it against us where we enter. There was no reason to panic. We get a nice green candle coming the following day, and all we did was respect the top end of the downtrend, or the descending channel. That's all we seen right there. So Intel, I like this name long term. It doesn't need to trade back down to this 25 range. Maybe it does. I really don't know. Moving forward, IBM, another name right here. Look at this slow churn. We were talking about this as a bull flag. We got the gap fill buys. We respected the levels down here. We're still even respecting previous highs. See how we never set the candle body below this candle body? All I did was mark that candle body right there. Wick, wick. Now we're taking out highs and just further continuation. We said we like this name long term, and I'll be damned. I sit down a couple hours later and look at farm. Break in an alert for us. Jeez, do we dare even try this? We said there was two different ways we were looking for this to go. It looks like it wants to follow this. Does this want to put some sort of green engulfing through this? Man, I just think that I need a little bit more information on this name. That doesn't mean that there isn't money to be made. I'm sure there is people out there looking to trade it. A lot of volume in this. Had a lot of green volume to open the day. Holds these levels. I wouldn't be surprised to see this take off. Am I going to trade it in the last 28 minutes of the day? No. No. We'll readdress this name later, but I think we can kind of get rid of this potential descending channel that it has, and we will see where this wants to go later on. Zum. Let's see if there's any other names in here that we have talked about. We talked about Hibbett. Man. Sometimes you just want to get that entry position against strength. You're sitting way down here in negative strength. We've identified that we have a left leg. We build the double bottom. Neckline's built. We get the extended right leg. We're looking for a back test of the neckline. Was it too good to be true to come down another $5? Maybe. Just maybe. But looking at some of these 3, 4, 5% gainers, I mean, just look at some of the oil names. Oil name up 4%. Oil name up 4%. Oil name up over 4%. Oil name up 4%. Oil name up 2%. Oil name up 4.5%. Oil name up 4.25%. Oil name up almost 5%. Oil name up 4.75%. Oil name up 5%. Oil name up over 5%. Oil name up 4.5%. Natural gas ETF up 5.5%. Oil name up 5.5%. Is there any more oil names that I can see? I mean, you guys get the picture there, guys. I'm sure if we went to some NASDAQ names, let's go. We talked about Palantir earlier today. Let's go take a look at Palantir. How about that? We were looking at this name up here, and we were telling ourselves we were just buying this name at $9. Back tested the previous high. You got a nice increased volume from the earnings, decreasing volume for the bull flag. You retest $9, and it's been nothing but upside. How many people out there do you think are freaking buying Palantir in through this 14 range? And now they're sitting there kind of clutching their cheeks together a little bit, saying, man, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? Oh, man. Boy, oh boy. For all I know, Palantir catches a bid and we end up taking out this 17 high. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll leave that up to you guys to determine whether you think Palantir. I would just be careful. The companies that you're looking to invest in and hold for a long period of time. What are they doing? What's their share count? If I was Palantir right now and my stock price just went from $6, $7, and we're sitting up at 17, I'm diluting the shares. I'm sorry, shareholders. We're gonna dilute the shares. Palantir has already been diluting shares like crazy. And I'm not trying to solo out Palantir. There's a lot of them out there that are just diluting the heck out of their shareholders, and that's just not interesting to me. Am I going to take advantage of a nice chart setup? Yeah. I would be shocked if Palantir over the long run, if they continue diluting shares the way that they are, I bet 750 comes back into play. And you're going to be like, no, it's not going to drop from 1450 back down to 750. No chance. Just wait. Just wait. If what I think can transpire in the NASDAQ actually comes to fruition, something I've been calling out since August of last year. Let's go take a look. Where's August? Here's August. We were talking about this, saying, hey, we're getting close to this previous low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-wave structure. I look at this as a simple wave 1. We're in a retracement phase, which is going to be our wave 2. I'm not going to go to a monthly chart and scope out the entire uptrend. But a wave 3, you're going to see some sort of chop action. You're going to have a nice surge in price. But now you're going to have this descending channel. Sort of like this. I'm trying to pan this, or play this out for you guys so you guys can see. Just what I'm talking about. Just like that. And you ask yourself, hey, how come this meets up so well? And then when this uptrend gives up, you're going to see probably a little pop, a retest, a wave 3. This 5-wave pattern to the downside is just going to be a simple wave 1. Now I know you're probably sitting there saying, man, this chart looks like crazy. But then you're going to retest and you're going to have some people feeling a little bit good. It's going to have a nice little pop. And then you're going to see a further wave down testing to these highs. I'm not counting this out until it can show me. I know that was probably very confusing. Moral of the story, whenever I see retracement phases like this, whenever I see the deadly 702, now a lot of people in retracements don't even mark the 702. They don't even have it on their charts. They don't. Deadly. When I see it meeting up around a gap like this, April 4th, April 5th, gaps down, leaves that gap right there. This should be marked on your NASDAQ charts. I'm letting you guys know that right now. Until it can show me that we can get through this and it's not just a retracement phase, okay, there might be some true weight to it. But some of these NASDAQ names, these AI names, these names that are trading over 100 PE, names that aren't even profitable yet, just be careful. All I'm saying, just be careful. So moving forward, do I have anyone? Nope, no one's even watching. People just want to miss out on gold information. It's alright. It's alright. When it plays out, you know who is out there looking out for you guys. Just my opinion. Just my opinion, guys. Just sharing my opinion here. Okay, so moving forward, I mean, look at some of these oil names in right here. 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%. Y'all are gonna wish that you got your oil entries when the opportunity was there. Because you know what oil's doing? Oil's returning value to shareholders. They're buying back shares. They're increasing dividends. They have great margins. Net, operating, gross, free cash flow. In the long run, stocks, ETFs, equity, crypto, commodities, they're going to trade at their intrinsic value in the long run. How long it takes? I don't have a crystal ball over here, guys. I don't have a crystal ball. Moving forward. Allison, really strong name. This was. Headset went out. Allison, very strong name. Been holding a nice uptrend. What are they doing? They're increasing their dividend. 2 pennies. You're like, oh, it's only 2 pennies. That's a little under 10% dividend growth, covers inflation. Yeah, only 2 pennies. Increasing their dividend. Very small to their payout ratio. They're increasing $1.80 a share. Only 23 cents of that came to that dividend. $1.84 a share. 23 cents. Buying back a ton of shares. Let's look at the quarter before. $1.52. Let's look at 4 quarters before. 130 to 185. You see the growth? Now revenue 741. 677. You see the growth? Do you see the chart setup? Do you see the downtrend that we have? We break the downtrend. We backtest with the double bottom on top of that. We set another higher low, and now we have this uptrend. Now we are getting ready to break all-time highs. Find the companies that are returning value to shareholders. They have growth. They have good margins. They're buying back shares. They're increasing dividends. You stick to that, I think you'll be a very good investor. And when I say investor, I'm not talking about trading. Sure, I dip into trading. The big money, the big gains, the true value to wealth comes from the investing. Short-term trading, guys, I mean, it's so hard to time. It's so hard and complicated. I don't even know how else to explain it. Just a big voting machine. We've talked about Alteria and BTI multiple times. We've talked about this uptrend that we have. Kind of gave a little bit of a break to the downside, but looking closer at it. Nice wick. Nice couple wicks that came into there. Got this dividend coming up that 94 cents, 94 cents, 94 cents, 90 cents. So got some dividend growth, buying back shares. Am I talking about Alteria Group to pump my own portfolio? Guys, if I had that type of weight, man, think of the damage I could do. Now, all joking aside, I'm looking for this to kind of go into some sort of retracement where I would say that's realistic right there. Direct correlation, direct correlation, direct correlation, direct correlation, direct correlation. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for this name. Just my opinion, of course. Just my opinion. Is there some sort of longer term uptrend like that? Some way, shape, or form like that? Maybe. We could see some red engulfing through this. Yeah, keeping an eye on some of those tobacco names. IIPR. Kind of trying to catch a bid. Previous lows at 87. I think this should be respected if you're taking an entry in right here. Did they announce that dividend yet? Nope, not yet. Let's see what else we can talk about. No, other than that, I think that's pretty much all. It doesn't look like we have anyone watching anyways. Enphase. We're really looking for this to pull back down. Nice channel to the upside. Whether that's accurate or not, tough to say. I'd have it marked something like that. Beautiful parallel channel right here. I'd love to see it come back in. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Yeah, other than that, guys, that's all I really got for you. and we will see you on the